Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, October 27th, and today we are starting our work on our Author's Purpose newspaper. There are going to be two videos today. This one is like our main video that's going to go over and remind us on to inform and to explain, because that's our pre-writing worksheet work for today. And showing you the pre-writing worksheets. And then our second video, which I'll be posting later in the day, will have some examples of how you could write those out. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get going on our pre-writing and starting our work for our Author's Purpose newspaper. Now, as a reminder, your Author's Purpose newspaper is 4 articles that are nonfiction. So we're practicing writing nonfiction, things that are true about real people, places, and events. And each of your 4 articles will be one of the author's purposes. So one article will be about you informing the reader about something that you know about. And one will be to explain how to do something or how something works. One will be to persuade, to try to convince your reader of something. And your 4th will be to entertain. And we're going to talk about to persuade and to entertain tomorrow, but that one can just be like an interesting or funny story of something that actually happened to you or happened in history. All right, I'm going to share my screen and let's get going. So the pre-writing worksheet, if you have the paper version at home, if you are cohort A or B, you have a paper version that looks just like this. Each of the sheets are exactly the same except for one thing right here. So this first sheet is to inform, and then if you go down or flip the page, the next one's to explain, and then to persuade and to entertain. We are only working on to explain and to inform today. All right. Now, each of them are chunked into 4 parts. The first part, actually, hold on. The top part tells you it's to inform, and this is where you write your main ideas, such as bridges are very helpful to human society. You want to talk about bridges and why they're helpful? That's your main idea. And then here's where you're going to select your text structure. How are you going to present that information? Are you going to give cause and effect, like the cause, bridges exist, the effect, all these positive things happen. Problem and solution. When you don't have a bridge, that's a problem, and this is how we would solve it with bridges. Or chronological history of bridges. And so that after you've done that, after you got your main idea, that's where you're going to place, or you're going to take that main idea and make a topic sentence, which is introducing to us what your paragraph is going to be about. Remember, don't say this paragraph is going to be about, or today I'm going to tell you about, or the main idea is. Just state it. Bridges are very helpful to human beings. The next part, part B, is where you're going to list 3 different examples or supporting details that support your main idea. 1, bridges allow people to get from one place to another. 2, they allow people to cross long distances over water or, like between a canyon. 3, it helps us transport things faster and more efficiently. And then your concluding sentence is going to restate your main idea. Remember, say the same thing, but use slightly different wording. As you can see, bridges are very helpful to human beings. The last part down here, the putting it all together, is where you just take each of those sentences you've already written, sentence 1, sentence 2, sentence 3, sentence 4, sentence 5, and then write them as a paragraph. So you're just going to put them one right after another. If you fill this thing out and you fill it in with full sentences in each one, then you've pretty much written your paragraph already. All you have to do is then transfer it into your final draft, which will start on Thursday. All right, I'm going to quick show you the pre-writing worksheets, the digital version. This is for our DL learners as well. Or if you are someone who would prefer to do your work online, I'm providing this as an option as well. So it is the exact same sheet, only it has these blue boxes, and that's where you would type in your answers, okay? So still has main idea spot, text structure spot, where you would include your topic sentence, your supporting details, concluding or transition sentence, and then space for you to put it all together into a paragraph, okay? Today, again, we're doing to inform and to explain, the first two, all right? So let us switch over really quick to a review of author's purpose. Remember this video, we're just gonna kind of review these, and then on the next video, that'll be a little short one, that'll be posted in a few hours, that will have your examples. So as a reminder, author's purpose of informing is meant to enlighten the reader or provide the reader with information about a topic. It usually includes a lot of descriptive words and usually based around facts or claims. We try to have inform be unbiased, meaning you don't have a preference one way or another, you're just providing information. Some of the text structures that work really well with this are chronological, like a timeline of events in a famous person's life. Compare and contrast between two things. Remember we did this with the tornado versus hurricane. Compare and contrast, and you're just giving your reader information about how those things are similar or different, as well as cause and effect. Like I said with the bridges, maybe the cause is that we have more bridges. The effect is these three great things that bridges provide to people. Some examples of texts that are written to inform are expository essays or articles where they're just explaining something or going in depth into a specific idea. Encyclopedias or reference texts are written as informational texts, and news stories, not news stories where they include their opinion, news stories about simply that something happened, the who, what, where, and when. So that's for to inform, and in our video later, I'll have an example of that. Now, for this one, author's purpose to explain. This is meant to zoom in on something and tell you how or why. Often describes a process or instructions. It usually includes a lot of descriptive words again, and usually is pretty factual. It can include some opinions, but usually it's based in facts. The text structure I really like for this is sequence, like step by step, such as how to bake brownies or how to tie your shoe. But you could also do description, like the way, explaining the way that explaining the sounds that you hear at Disney World. Okay, so I like these for instructions or directions. Also detailed explanations of specific events in history, like this happened and this is why or how it happened. These things led up to it. Some examples of what you could write for inform or explain. Again, you can come up with your own. Remember, your 4 articles do not need to be about the same topic. They can be about 4 different topics. If you want to try to write 4 articles about one topic, like horses or spaceships, sure, go ahead. But I think it also might be a little bit more fun for you to have some variety. So an example for to inform would be describe what happened in a football, hockey, baseball, soccer game you watched recently. Compare and contrast 2 types of food or cars or 2 kinds of sports, 2 video games. You could summarize a time period in history that you're learning about, or you could just write a news story about something that is happening in the school or your community. Now to explain that, this one I like a lot. Like I said, it's sequence. It's one of Mr. O's favorite hobbies has a lot of things that are to explain, recipes. So you can explain how to play a sport or a game, how to play a video game, how to tweet, how to post a Snapchat, create a recipe and outline the steps needed to make the food. Remember, it's in hamburger paragraph format, not a numbered list. So you wouldn't write number 1 and then write it out. You would say the first step is. You could also explain what you can hear, smell, or see in your favorite location. Like I said, what it sounds like to be at Disney World. Okay, so the next video is going to have 2 examples of how to do to inform and 1 to explain. And if you have questions, make sure you're reaching out. But these are nonfiction articles, so you can't just make them up, but you can still be creative in what you choose to write about. Okay, that is all I have for today. Let's double check. So your homework today, or your classwork today, depending if you're in school or out of school, is to fill out the pre-writing worksheet for to inform and to explain. And that is due tomorrow. And I say it's due tomorrow because tomorrow we're going to start working on to persuade and to entertain. So you want to be done with this before you start on your next two. And you want to have all 4 of those at least done in your pre-writing before you start your final draft on Thursday. Okay. Again, reach out if you have any questions, and stay tuned for a second video that goes in depth on a couple examples. And I'm really excited to read these. And don't get overwhelmed. It's 5 sentences per paragraph. You can totally do this. Okay. All right. You guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you online and see you at school. Bye.